There is this one company that's been making the most important technology in the world. It powers almost everything that we use and every industry depends on it. Semiconductors. You might hear them called microchips, integrated circuits, but it's all the same thing. And the company that's leading in making these chips is TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. In fact, Taiwan didn't always know how to make these chips. It was the US that invented them. But today, roughly 60% of the world's semiconductors are made by TSMC and about 90% of the most advanced chips. Not because TSMC makes more, but TSMC makes them better.
TSMC.
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 TSMC is one of the most consequential companies in history.
Taiwan Semiconductors is one of the best managed companies and important companies in the world. There's no one in the chip industry that's in their league.
So how did that happen? Well, we need to go back to where all of this began. Back in the 1940s, the United States was in the urge of building better computers. But computers before looked like this. Tons of giant vacuum tubes and messy wires taking up entire rooms just to solve tedious math problems. It was clunky and not so special. Then at Bell Labs, 3 scientists came upon with this new invention called transistor. It was like a really precise on and off switch, allows you to control the pulse of electricity precisely. The idea was to remove these bulky vacuum tubes. But even then, computers were still big. The single breakthrough that finally changed everything came a decade later when 2 scientists, Jack Kilby and Robert Noyce, invented the first integrated circuit. Instead of wiring separate parts in giant rooms, they figured out how to build an entire circuit onto a single tiny slice of material called silicon. Silicon is like the second most abundant element on our Earth right after oxygen. On its own, silicon is a terrible conductor of electricity, but if you mix it with other elements, then it conducts electricity. It becomes more like a semiconductor of electricity, which is what they exactly needed to send electricity precisely. No more clunky long wires. Now here's where things got interesting. Once engineers learned how to build entire circuits onto a single chip, they just kept shrinking them. More transistors could fit onto less space. First hundreds, then thousands, then millions, and now it reached up to billions. As these chips evolved, technology advanced at an unprecedented pace. We got televisions, personal computers, internet, smartphones, and now AI. The United States was leading this semiconductor revolution. They knew that semiconductors would be the next gold rush.
Integrated circuits now perform critical tasks in almost all areas of healthcare.
It is in your wristwatch.
Modern transportation systems.
Your pocket calculator.
Communication that is instantaneous and global.
Automatic street lights and space shuttle.
Now, you need to know that every finished semiconductor passes through these 2 essential stages: design and fabrication. The US were good at designing the chips, but they lacked the patience for fabrication. It was expensive, slow, and didn't fit their fast-moving business culture. Meanwhile, Japan was dominating the global market. They were exceptionally well than the US in the fabrication process. So in order to stay equal with Japan, the US started to outsource for fabrication from other countries. Taiwan became one of them. In the 1970s, the world faced an oil crisis, and Taiwan suffered huge losses. Their government then responded by pushing the economy towards exports, and semiconductors became the target. Taiwan began acquiring patents, building fabs, training engineers, trying to do what everyone else was doing: design chips and fabricate them. But a man named Morris Chang looked at the industry differently. He noticed that there were hundreds of brilliant chip designers in Silicon Valley startups who couldn't afford to build their own fabs. Building a fab cost hundreds of millions of dollars. Most startups simply couldn't. So Chang didn't try to do both like everyone before him. He stripped the model down to one thing: fabrication and fabrication only. No more chip designs. Then eventually, Chang founded TSMC in 1987. Today, the whole world depends on semiconductors. But in this field, there are significantly more chip designers than manufacturers because starting a fab costs over $1 billion in infrastructure plus decades of accumulated expertise you simply can't buy. Before TSMC, every chip company had to own a factory. TSMC told the world, hey, you guys design the chips and we will take care of the multi-billion-dollar headache of building them. This single pivot allowed startups like Nvidia to exist. It's the reason Apple trusted TSMC with its chips, and TSMC has held that promise ever since. Now, timing helped. When Morris Chang founded TSMC, he secured heavy backing from Taiwan's government and global partners like Philips. Capital that absorbed the risk most companies couldn't afford to take alone. But anyways, timing isn't the real reason no one has replaced TSMC. See, companies like Intel, Texas Instruments, and Samsung existed long before, but they just operated as IDMs, designing and fabricating their own chips. TSMC succeeded because it built the right business model, the pure play foundry. That focus let them pour resources into R&D, train their workforce relentlessly, and learn from their mistakes faster than anyone else. And you can see exactly how far that compounding advantage has taken them. In semiconductor fabrication, yield rate is more important. One report stated that Samsung's yield rate at 3nm node has been stuck around 50% for years. Meanwhile, TSMC is getting more than 90% of usable chips of the same kind of wafer. To meet today's demand, manufacturers carve transistors smaller than a virus, smaller than a strand of human DNA. I mean, these fabs runs inside the most controlled environment on the planet. Even a single speck of dust can ruin an entire chip. So, how do they even do this? Well, that's where the extreme ultraviolet lithography machine comes in, built by a single company on Earth. I mean, the whole semiconductor industry runs on a global supply chain. Dozens of countries each contribute one irreplaceable piece until it all converges at TSMC, where finally comes alive as a chip. Today, both the US and China are racing to reduce their dependence on a single island for semiconductors. Analysts call it Taiwan's Silicon Shield. The idea that an attack on Taiwan would devastate the global chip supply so badly, it would cripple the very attacker's own economy in the process. What's remarkable in this whole story is that none of this happened by luck. The most important technology on Earth wasn't perfected by the country that invented it. It was built on a small island by one company patient enough to spend nearly 40 years mastering what everyone else gave up on. If you enjoyed watching this video, hit a like and subscribe to our channel. I love to explain difficult concepts and things that are happening in our world, and your support in this journey would truly inspire me to make more better videos. Thanks for watching till the end.